Okay. This is the Commissioners' Workshop for Thursday, September 25th, here at 10:30 a.m. I'd like to open it up to any discussion. Anybody here, anybody in the audience like to participate? Come up to the mic, sir. State your name and address and for the record.
Okay. Good morning.
Good morning.
So my name is Kevin Harrison. I reside at 927 Skinner Avenue, Painesville, Ohio. I'm a lifelong Lake County resident, and I'm here before you just to express my disapproval of the 287G agreement between Immigration and Customs Enforcement, also known as ICE, and the Lake County Sheriff's Department. So throughout this year, we've all witnessed aggressive tactics utilized by ICE. ICE is not only targeting individuals who have a criminal history, but also are in the U.S. with legal visas, or who are properly going through the court process. So families are being ripped apart by these policies, and at times the Fifth Amendment, which states no person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, has been ignored. And these policies are unjust and inhumane. For context, in Ohio so far in 2025, only 6% of immigrants arrested by ICE were convicted of a violent crime, and only 4% of those were drug-related. Sheriff Leon Bruno recently stated that this agreement would be a limited capacity. However, this agreement could lead to racial profiling during traffic stops, and just the simple act of having this agreement sows distrust and spreads fear between community members and officers of the law. So last month, Ohio's Attorney General Dave Yost stated an opinion that county commissioners are, and not sheriffs, are the party responsible for authorizing these agreements. So I question the legality of this agreement if the county commissioners have not already authorized this. And in closing, I just want to say that immigrants are the backbone of our communities. Many of my neighbors are immigrants. Immigrants work hard and they pay taxes just like you and I. And I'm grateful to live in a county with such deep cultural richness, but we have to protect that. We must stand together to defend the rights of our neighbors. And I hope that you all will see the harm that could be caused within our community by allowing this agreement to stand. So I urge you to use your positions to rescind the 287G agreement between the Lake County Sheriff's Department and ICE. And with that, I thank you for your time and your consideration today.
Thank you.
Thank
Mr. President,
Yes.
if I may, and I appreciate you coming in. This topic has been coming up. We have received phone calls on this. And in my opinion, I would like to see us start to do a messaging on what exactly Lake County's position is and how they're handling the 287Gs. I'm not going to speak to federal or state anything, right? I've said it 1,000 times before. I ran for Lake County Commissioner. My jurisdiction, my impact is here in this county. Those things at the federal or the state level and those issues are for those elected officials to handle those decisions. We are, at the county level, an extension of the state charter, the Ohio Revised Code. We do not write laws. We have to obey I don't have a better word, but we got to obey what the state tells us we have to do. And to some extent, we have to do the same with federal policies as well. And so when the federal policies come and ask us to participate in these things, we don't really have a lot of wiggle room on that. The 287G has multiple parts to it, as I've been educated on. One of which is, for example, if in a traffic stop situation, if one of our deputies pulls over somebody and as they ask for their identification, it becomes evident that they do not have proper immigration status, then this agreement allows them to notify ICE And as I understand it, we then have the ability, if ICE wants to issue a warrant, then ICE has 24 hours to do that, and 48 hours or so to be able, if you want to take care of the situation, then that's on you. But once again, that's a traffic stop situation where, for whatever reason, our deputies have felt that there was something illegal going on. Another component of it is if somebody has been arrested for a crime, okay? So pick the crime, whatever, that they've been arrested and they're then in our jail. The other part of the agreement allows us to contact ICE and say, listen, we've had this person, they've broken the law, we've arrested them, we're going to be releasing them, but their immigration status is not up to snuff. Is there something you'd like to do? Once again, they then have, I believe, 24 or 48 hours to come up with a warrant and then come and take possession of the criminal. The other part that the Attorney General, as I understand it, made a ruling on had to do with housing of ICE detainees. That's the part that then, according to the Attorney General, fell under the jurisdiction and the approval of the commissioners, because in theory, the commissioners own the jail. It is operated by the sheriff, but the commissioners own it, and that was the Attorney General's opinion. I can tell you that I don't believe that that is the current opinion of our local prosecutor, that it should be the commissioners signing that. As they say, you ask 4 attorneys for a legal opinion, you're going to get about 7 opinions on that. That's a different story for another day. Either way, Lake County and the sheriff do not participate in that agreement. They do not house ICE detainees. So that part of the 287G agreements is not happening here in Lake County. As I understand it, there is a 4th part-ish to the 287Gs where warrants issued by ICE, and this might be some of what you're referencing on a national level, where local law enforcement officers are being empowered by ICE regulations to be able to go out and enforce these warrants. That also is not something that our sheriff or here at Lake County is going on. So I appreciate the concerns and some of them very valid. I don't like to see people that have not done anything wrong, especially, right? Illegal immigration coming over here is in itself doing something wrong. But I believe the policies that our sheriff has signed on for within the 287G are absolutely appropriate. That somebody who is at a traffic stop or already arrested, this is just formalizing an agreement with ICE. It's the legal red tape, if you will, so that our sheriff's department has the jurisdiction and the ability to say this person was breaking the law. We don't have any way to do anything about their immigration other than to partner up with ICE, which ICE has asked us to do in that manner. But I think that that's an important messaging part, that now that these agreements have been finalized and Attorney General statements have come out, we need to do a good job of making sure that that messaging is understood. Once again, if you're not breaking the law, then I don't think 287G is going to have any impact on your life here in Lake County. But furthermore, if you're here illegally, you're already breaking the law, right? And so I just wanted to clarify some of the things, and I appreciate you coming in, and I appreciate your asking questions, but I do think that that message needs to be illustrated time and time again. The agreements that I understand that the sheriff has signed is allowing us and giving us the legal authority that if we come in contact through the course of them doing their job of stopping bad people from doing bad things, we have the legal authority to refer these folks over to ICE so that ICE can handle the immigration side of that. So, did I misspeak, sir? Within 80%? What? Of course. You say of course? Sorry. I tried to do it as good as I could.
It's like the dramatic walk to the mic.
Hey, he doesn't have his coffee like Galloway last week, so I'll take that.
Franklin and Bruno live across the street. Excellent. You did an excellent job explaining 287 in our position. Part of it is the messaging difficulty. And so we did put out press release, we did meet with the news media. And so the problem with social media, and we've discussed this before, is if it's not in a short 2 sentences and not a good picture, nobody's going to look at it. The news media tries to do the best job they can in a video clip for TV, but they can't, they won't expound on some of those things. I met yesterday with 4 or 5 individuals for about an hour and a half over the 287. They are against that, and brought up a lot of those issues expressed here today. Some things they didn't understand, was able to explain our position, and you did. Our task force officer is a limited, although we have expanded capabilities, we're using it in a limited way on traffic stops in the course of business. Yes, ICE is going into places in California that make the news, the nurseries, the grow areas. We're not doing that here in Lake County. We have no intention to go to house or do raids on that. The only thing we said we would do is if immigration had to serve a high-risk warrant where there are guns involved, there is violence possible, we would assist through our SWAT team. We did that 4 years ago when they raided a cartel house a quarter mile from here. There were guns in windows and a lot of serious implications, and we did assist them on that. We didn't do the investigation, we assisted them on serving the warrant. Speaking with, there is these allegations that go out, this is racial profiling is possible. Yes. Is that a possibility? Absolutely. So I told the people yesterday when they raised that, that's always a possibility. But I've been with the sheriff's office 36 years. We've never been accused of racial profiling because we don't. We have a good organizational culture. We instruct, we train, we supervise. We now have body cams that our supervisors view on incidents, and we do checking. If we were to see something like that, there would be an investigation. We don't have that going on. And so all we can demonstrate is what we've shown to the community for years and years, is our professionalism and that what we say actually occurs, and we don't lie to the community. Hopefully that responds to some of those things.
I seen our genius legal mind was ready to speak. I don't know if you wanted to add to that. Or
Well, I was just going to mention with regard to Attorney Yost's opinion, that was directed strictly at the jail incarceration model, which Sheriff Liam Bruno has not entered into such a contract for that. So I thought that was an important point to make. And as well, it seems to me it almost doesn't really change anything what sheriffs have been doing for the last, since 2015 or so.
That's correct.
Yeah. If you come across an individual like that and you have an opinion from our office, you may detain them for up to 48 hours. And
Yes.
ICE will come get them. If they don't, they do get released. And so really nothing's changed in my view. We've had this discussion, but I really wanted to speak about Attorney General Yost's opinion, though. That was not directed at, only directed at.
In fact, that in that opinion, he mentions 48 hours. Anything
Right.
beyond 48 hours, and he talks about contracts beyond that period of time in that opinion, which we do not do nor have intention to do.
So in this context, then what's this agreement? We won't necessarily have anything before us to approve or disapprove.
No.
Okay.
Mr. President,
Yes.
I think that Commissioner Beveridge shared most of the relevant issues, but for my part, I just want to reinforce to all of your deputies, because you and your chief are here, and maybe some of them are watching, that the commissioners and the community have the highest faith and trust in the work that they do. It's certainly true that any organization can have a bad apple, but I have seen firsthand how hard you and your supervisors have worked to weed those out and to make sure that the absolute best training and procedures are in place so that the public is safe. And it's kind of easy to cast aspersions and to think of a sheriff deputy as a nameless, faceless person, but these are our friends and neighbors. They care deeply about our community. And yeah, they have power, and yes, power can be abused, but to the sheriff's point, I've never seen it done, and I don't believe that it will happen. And if by some chance someone steps across that line, I believe they will be severely disciplined, because that is the culture, not just in the Lake County Sheriff's Office, but in all of our police departments. And I do think it's important to note that all anyone is discussing is enforcing the law, and we can have legitimate disagreements about what laws should change, but unless or until they do, it's not our part to ignore the law, it's our part to enforce and to uphold it.
That's a critical point, and we've always stressed that. There's three branches of government. The legislature makes the law, executive branch enforces it, and the judicial branch interprets the law, determines guilt or innocence. It's not our position as law enforcement to question whether a warrant is valid, to question whether somebody should receive this punishment or that punishment. Our job is to make the arrest, make the detention, and bring them to the judiciary to determine that. And so we can't pick and choose the laws we will or will not enforce. If we did that, people would certainly question our abilities as a sheriff's office.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir, anything for more clarification? Did you, we're not really trying to sway your decision, but I mean, I think we wanted to make sure you're clear on where Lake County stands on this. So.
Yeah, thank you. I'm not here for a debate or anything like that either. So
We just wanted to make sure that you had.
yeah, I appreciate that. I appreciate Commissioner Beveridge's explanation and the clarification on the Attorney General's piece. I guess the thing that still doesn't sit right with me is, it was stated that Mr. Beveridge stated that, we're following Ohio's laws, correct, but you're not required to sign into these agreements. Only a handful of sheriff departments in the state have signed these agreements that I'm aware of. So I understand following the law and enforcing the law, but it just doesn't seem necessary to go that extra step, especially in a county that has such a large immigrant population. So that's my main concern, and thank you again.
Well, thanks for bringing it here.
Thank you.
Anything else to come up? Well, guess we can call this work session to a close.